Hello, my friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio once again. This is Spiritism, a closer look. And I always say that we do this live transmission every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Luiz Lima here, your host for tonight, broadcasting from the city of Porto in Portugal. And in this program, we're going to take a closer look at this title, We Are Worthy. A lot of people are like, are we? Well, let's investigate a little bit. Let's see how we fit in the phrase, we are worth it. There's a lot of times in our lives, for most people, I would say, for most people in our lifetimes, there are certain things that happen at certain times where the idea of us being worthy becomes a little shaky, doubtful. So we go through, turbulent times and we go like, eh. So this feeling can be stronger for some people and less intense for others. It's not the same for everyone. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different spiritual history, which makes a difference here in that feeling. So this can become something that we have experienced in lifetimes, and these things are still echoing in our hearts. So this idea that I'm not worthy or something along those lines could be something that comes from past lives. Not necessarily it started or it made you feel that way in this life. It could be something that comes from a past life or earlier in this life. Well, a few things we need to go through to understand here. Number one, why are we worth it? Why? What can we tell ourselves in that sense that we are worth it? Well, Spiritism teaches us very, very clearly, by the way, that we are all created simple and ignorant. However, we all have built in the potential for perfection. It's just part of us. At creation, we hold the entire blueprint of our greatness. Right? Just like the seeds, they hold the entire blueprint of becoming a tree. It's the same thing. So not giving ourselves the worthy that we carry within would be the same as denying our divine nature, because we are created simple and ignorant by who? By God. So the minute that we don't put the proper value on ourselves, we are kind of denying our divine nature, or to say the least, we're trying to dethrone God. Our worth, that has to be very well understood, by the way. Our worth does not come from our possessions, from our social status, from our physical appearance. No, it comes from our divine origin. Well, then why do we feel, at least from time to time, why do we often feel unworthy? Why? What makes us feel that way? Well, let's investigate this thing. But first of all, not feeling worth it does not mean that we are wrong. These are different things. Right or wrong is not the same as this. One thing does not lead to the other. People can be wrong, even evil, and they still feel worth it. Narcissists, for example, that's their general feeling. So what makes us feel, well, potentially, what could make us feel unworthy? So one thing we already mentioned, past mistakes. in this life or previous lives. These mistakes, they have a toll in our conscience. Another thing that could be a reason for us not feeling what we are worth. Society, anywhere, not necessarily in one place, in one city, in one country, no, everywhere. Society often values people for what they produce rather than who they are. Society looks into the byproducts of our existence, not the results of us being a spirit in progress. What is a byproduct of our existence? Well, as we go along, we make mistakes. That's how we learn. So a mistake is a byproduct of our existence. It's not the target. It's not where I want to be, but it happens. So it's a byproduct. So societal rules or society in general looks at these byproducts and not a general overview of a spirit or spirits in progress that we all are. So then the question is, how do societal values influence our self-worth? It depends a lot on two things, basically. The culture, the society, what it brings as a value and the spirit living in that society. A few things also can lower our self-worth. Criticism, rejection, spiritual trials that we all have to face, from time to time. However, Spiritism tells us something very interesting, which is guilt is nothing more than a call to improvement, not a life sentence. So feeling guilty about something should be taken as, oh, I acknowledge that I am guilty of this certain thing, and I'm going to use this as a stepping stone. Instead of just, I am worth nothing, that's it, my life is over. We should never, ever, ever think along those lines. And Spiritism is very clear about guilt. It's a call to improvement. And there's always room for improvement. For those who think there is no room for improvement, moral improvement, those are the low order spirits. They are so low that they can't see room for improvement. They are the best. They don't have to be any better than what they are. So the journey for those spirits is going to be a lot longer than others. And it all has to do with moral progress. Like we mentioned in the beginning, we go from simple and ignorant all the way to perfected spirits. So there's a path. So we go on this path of the road of the moral progress and the path towards self-worth. We learn more and more every day. So Spiritism shows us that this progress occurs or takes place as a sequence of reincarnations, where we get better as the incarnations are going. We are better now than our previous incarnation. For every single one of us, this is our best incarnation ever, regardless. It was Hitler's best incarnation. So it is our best incarnation ever. So when you consider reincarnation within what we're saying here, reincarnation is this God's way of telling us, I trust you to try again. Go ahead and try. We are given that much. Would you give this much trust to somebody that you think it's not worth it? So that tells us something. If we are given the gift of reincarnation, by God. God trusts us, and God sees full value on our existence. Now, this is from the societal look. If you look from point of view of the society, our spiritual mentors and our guides see not only what we have done, but what we can become. Society doesn't. Society doesn't see it this way. So our spiritual mentors and guides that are with us on this journey, from the spiritual point of view, of course, they look back and they see what we were. They look now and see what we are. They look ahead and see what we can become. Because our destination is preset, perfection. Even the spirits who once caused great harm to others, to society in general, they are welcome into new opportunities for redemption. Everyone, every spirit has its own opportunity. So if you come to think of it, every spirit, regardless of moral level, it could be the worst morality that you can think of or the best you can think of. Doesn't matter. They are all worth it. Otherwise, God wouldn't give them a chance to go ahead and do it again. Try again. Do better this time. We wouldn't do this. We wouldn't delegate this to a person that we don't think it's worth it. So all of us, regardless, do have that opportunity, will have that opportunity as many times as needed. Now, the idea that we're not worth it, I shouldn't deserve this, that's a problem with how we identify ourselves as spirits. So instead of thinking, for example, let's say I'm a sinner beyond repair. Why don't we just say, I am a spirit in progress? And God loves me, by the way. So instead of thinking, I've failed too much, that's it. Why don't we change that to, I've learned, I am learning still through trials, and I'm still growing. And instead of saying or thinking, I don't deserve happiness. Take this. Happiness is our spiritual heritage. And we are still learning how to claim it. We don't know how to claim it in its full form now at this level. But we are learning how to claim our spiritual heritage. So in all of this, becomes very close to self-esteem, self-love, as spirits that we are all incarnated here on earth. So Jesus taught us something that we're still trying to fully understand for most of us, let alone practice. And he said, love your neighbor as yourself. As yourself. So we need to love ourselves, trust ourselves, value ourselves, see our value. Before we can do anything else, we cannot love our neighbor if we don't love ourselves, if we do not reconcile with ourselves in that particular situation. If we hate ourselves, if we despise ourselves, how can we love others? Truly, we can't. So self-love in Spiritism is different, and a lot of people can get this wrong. Self-love in Spiritism is not vanity. It's not vanity. Self-love in Spiritism is recognizing our divine potential and treating ourselves with respect accordingly. It's not that, oh, I'm the best, here I am. No, that's not what self-love from the Spiritist point of view is. We recognize our divine potential. Remember the seeds, the value that comes with the seeds, the blueprint. Recognize that and treat ourselves with respect, which is going to make us treat other people with respect. And to start, this more intense self-love, love towards the self, charity is a starting point. Forgiveness is a form of charity. The minute you forgive somebody, they might ask you for forgiveness or not. But let's say, for example, somebody comes to me and say, listen, I did this to you and so and so and so. I want to excuse myself and so I want you to forgive me. Of course I can say, oh yeah? No, I don't forgive you at all. Of course, I got free will. Is it worth it? No. Forgiveness is a form of charity. The minute that I forgive that person, I just did a great work of charity, which is going to return to me. How? I made this person much happier by just forgiving that person. That's my worth. That's worth it. Forgiveness is the starting point in all of this thing. Of course, there's things we can do every day or, every few days or so that will help us acquire, this idea that we are worth it. Prayer is one of them. This conversation with God. Remember, God trusts us. God thinks we are worth it, and we are. So let's thank Him for that. Another thing we can do is service other people. Because when I do good things, it simply confirms my value, our value. And it makes us this instrument of God helping others. So there is value attached. It lets me know that, I did this thing, I helped that person, I'm going to be a voluntary on helping this person doing this and that, this person is sick, and so and so. There's value attached. We should study. The more we understand the laws of God, the laws of nature, the less we accept this wrong idea of unworthiness. Study. And another thing we can think of is self-compassion. At times we stumble. At times we kind of, When that happens, we acknowledge, we learn from it, stepping stones, and we move forward. We don't get stuck, there's a wall in front of me, and, I'm not worth it. That's it. Never. Spiritism will never teach us that. Au contraire. So, a lot, for all of us, a lot will happen between the I am and the I will be. A lot will happen between the I am and I will be. However, how about praising ourselves for what happened between the I was and the I am? This is my best incarnation, so it's better than the other one. At least, if you go back, say, 10 reincarnations, I would be a lot worse. So what happened in between? Good things. So I should praise we should praise ourselves for that and thank up there. And again, we should not focus on the byproducts. We should focus on the target in our journey. What is the target? Perfection. So we need to do good things. We need to, and that's what Spiritism is here for. It's a philosophy that will teach us what to do and how to do and what not to do also to reach perfection, which is the destination. It's a target. So very often we overlook our value. We overlook our worth. And then a lot of times we hear this question, well, but I'm really not worth it, I don't deserve happiness and so and so. Then you talk to the people who explain some of what we, said here, but the person is still, not open for that. It's still, about I'm not worth it. So let me give a simple example, which is undeniable. Just by being an incarnate spirit, we have given our mother the opportunity to be a mother. Just by being an incarnate spirit, we have given our father the opportunity to be a father. Isn't that worth it? Doing something for somebody that needs to grow, and in order to grow towards perfection, we have to experience every possibility. Being born in female bodies, being a mother, not being a mother, be born in male bodies, being a father, not being a father. We have to experience all of it. Just by being born, or like I said, being an incarnate spirit, we have given to people the opportunity that they need in their journey to be better. And what I mean by just being born, what I mean by just being incarnate, this is completely regardless of everything else. It's regardless of level of schooling, regardless of IQ, regardless of career choice, regardless of spiritual maturity. None of this is part of that equation. And the equation is, I am an incarnate spirit that gave a mother and gave a father, two other spirits, the opportunity to experience what they need for their growth. That's almost like hidden charity. But we did that. Aren't we worth it? Yes, we are. And sometimes we look at the good deeds that other people perform, and instead of using them as a reference, we feel uncomfortable and attacked by that. We envy, we don't want to talk to those people because they were doing something I don't feel capable of doing. We are devaluing ourselves when we do this. How do I value myself? Oh, that person knows how to do this. This person is fantastic. Let me get closer to this person. Let me try to understand how that person does this charity work, this whatever it is. Let me understand. That's learning. That's acknowledging that we need to grow, to have a better value, to value myself even more. Now, all of this, everything we said here, is under the umbrella of free will. Free will is untouchable. So we can learn Spiritism, we can listen to talks and lectures and everything, and read all the books and everything else. Not only Spiritism, anything that leads us towards making good deeds happen. Now, if my free will, if myself choose to exercise my free will and not do any of that, there's nothing that anybody can do. Free will is personal and not transferable. So, at times, we are given several opportunities in different circumstances, situations, where here's a good chance, a good opportunity to, grow and value ourselves more, instead of just being, victim of the world. And at times we miss that opportunity. And when we miss opportunities like this, later on we're going to look back and say, oh, I did this wrong. And then we fall down. Oh, I'm not worth it. No. Again, I'm going to end as we started. If God delegated the right for us to be here, incarnate with a sequence of as many incarnations as needed on my own pace, if He gave us that, He trusts us. He sees the value and the worth, because that comes from within. It's in our blueprint. We carry the divine seeds. Thank you very much for following us tonight. We are going to be here next week once again, doing this program, Spiritism: A Closer Look, right here on Kardec Radio. Don't forget, 7 p.m. every Wednesday. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.